This is the first episode of Off the Set. This is a JC Films podcast. Today we have Dean Cain. We're just going to be chit-chatting, talking about everything under the sun that has to do with the movies he's been in and just his personal life, or, you know, whatever we find is nice to talk about. All right, so, I mean, we'll start out with the softballs, right? How did you get involved with JC Films? Meet Jason.
I do this for the money because it's a big-time money deal. Huge cash.
Yeah, man. Got that Cayman Island account?
Listen, doing the films with JC Films is fantastic because you're telling stories that otherwise wouldn't get told. And I like to work, and I like people who have that work attitude. And Jason has that, and he cares about the stories he's telling and the people whose stories he is telling. And I enjoy it. You know, we do a ton of these things. Filmmaking is I enjoy filmmaking. The parts that I don't enjoy about filmmaking is on your huge budget things is there's so much waiting around. There's so much time wasted. And that doesn't happen on JC Films, man. We go and don't be standing near the camera because you're going to be on camera in about 5 minutes, whoever you are.
Yeah, that turnaround rate is pretty insane.
It's crazy, but it's also lovely because you're working and you're going and you're flying and sometimes you catch some nice little magic there and stuff like that. But what I like doing with Jason is telling these small faith-based stories that would never get made, especially with name actors that just would never do it because it's such a small production or something like that. And sometimes we come up with some bigger productions and better things, and it's great. I like work. I think work begets work, and I think everybody's story is pretty much worth telling. That's true. Everyone's always got a story. And I'm not a snob about it in that sense. And most of Hollywood is. It's true. Yeah.
So would you say that you have a preference towards the big budgets or the smalls, or?
Well, listen, I do everything. I mean, I host things. I'll host Fox and Friends. I'll host the Today Show. I'll be the host for Masters of Illusion. I just hosted the Family Film Awards. At the same time, I'll guest star on someone's show. I like challenging myself and doing everything. I'm writing, producing, directing, and acting in my first feature. That's a lot of fun. I really enjoy that because I'm telling a story I want to tell, the way I want to tell it. So that's great fun. But I like to mix it up. Yeah. So, Well,
so then let me ask you this: do you have a favorite character or role that you've played with JC Films?
Ooh, with JC Films, man. No. I don't have a favorite of mine. I get lost in the characters, to be honest. I get lost in the film sometimes because
no particular attachment to any of them.
No, because each one's a little portion of who I am or somebody I know, or that's what acting, is. He makes me a principal or a pastor a lot. So I don't know which one. Yeah. But that's the way that works time wise, and it's good. I have favorite films that he's done that I think are great, but my characters, no, I mean, I have a lot of fun with him. I'm having more and more fun, and I think he's going to be like, dude, dial it down, will you? Okay. But no, it's fun, and I don't have a specific favorite, but I'll tell you the favorite one I'm going to do is the next one I do.
Hey, that's a good answer. There you go. That's how you always make sure you have business. Take notes.
See how subtle that was?
Oh, man. So you started doing acting, you were in your late 20s by then, yeah?
Yes, but no. No, I grew up the son of a director, so I grew up like this. Mm-hmm. I grew up with my dad making little tiny films. So this to me is like I'm back at my youth. And I grew up, I don't know if you heard the part there, because you were doing both things at once in the little class back there. I grew up, and Chris Penn and Charlie Sheen were making a Vietnam, and I was the Vietnamese guy, the Gook, they called me. Right. You can't say that these days, but that's the character I was playing, and I'm Japanese, but whatever. But I did that with those guys. My dad I was on set with my dad all the time. He had us going. Chris Penn took my first real line in a movie because I didn't want to say it. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a stupid line. I was right, Dad. It was a stupid line. But Chris did it and did a much better job than I did too. I was like, oh, he looked like he was real when he said that. Yeah. Oh, that's acting.
It's nice to see every once in a while.
Yeah, but it was great fun. And so I grew up on set my entire life. And so going to the world of acting and filmmaking, it was a completely natural progression. I went to Princeton, I played football, I did all these things. And I realized that, making movies is a lot more fun for a career and so much more dynamic than being an investment banker or the things that some of my friends were doing. They were all leaving there and going to Wall Street. I was like, 80 hours a week in a suit. That's your life. Maybe you make a lot of money, but how hollow is your life? That's what it felt like to me. And meanwhile, I'm leaving and going on sets, and my dad was shooting Young Guns. Between my junior and senior year, and all my friends were out there riding horses and playing with 6-shooters and trying to spin them around, do tricks. I was like, that's fun.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a lot more fun and a better way to make a living than what my friends are doing. Now, some of my friends became billionaires, so maybe I screwed that up, but some of them didn't. So, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Well, and that's the thing. It's when you are having fun is when you can actually deliver a decent performance. If you're miserable on set, people are going to see that.
Yeah, and if you're supposed to be miserable, great, good job, it's working for you. Yeah. But I noticed that when we're having fun on set, it's a lot more fun to watch that project too. Yeah. I mean, that pretty much translates to the screen. Yeah,
well, and that's one of the things that I've enjoyed working with Jason is there's no bad idea and there's no wrong mouth for an idea to come from. So when we're having these good times on set and we're all just we're giving each other a hard time, we're making jokes, people feel more relaxed. They feel more open that they can maybe make a suggestion or have more of their own passion in it and want to make something better.
It's true. That can also be a double-edged sword if everyone's coming up with ideas all the time. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, so there's part of the set etiquette. You have to learn the set etiquette. Well, I got to say, you're very good on set. I told your mom this. I told her not to tell you. Did you tell him? Okay.
No, she didn't tell me anything.
I hate to compliment him to his face. So no, you're very good on set, and it's important. There's a thing about set etiquette that people don't learn and or maybe don't understand, and it's an important thing, and you got it, so it's a good thing.
I appreciate that.
Don't look me in the eye. Stop it. You're looking me in the eye. I told you not when I'm performing.
Where should I look?
Look to the ground. Hey, it's a joke, but there are folks.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
There are folks, and you just don't. You just, okay, don't Mr. So-and-so, don't look him in the eye. Or blah, blah.
Yeah.
And the actors are notoriously insecure, and that's where that comes from.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, a lot of them come through the same old channel of they went through the drama department in high school. They did all this and that with the arts. And that does tend to be,
You did it.
Not really. But you do tend to get a lot of people that are very caught up in themselves in that kind of when you're going
this business.
Yeah, but so it's nice, especially obviously probably 95% of the work that I'm doing with them is you're not around because you've got.
I'm a big shot, man.
Yeah, man.
Only bring me in for the closers.
Yeah, only for the one day when we just threw everything for you at once.
Yep, I prefer it that way though too, because again, I mean, I love doing this, coming out here and spending my time, but this isn't what I would. I mean, I wouldn't do it. Right. I don't do it for the money.
No, of course.
I do it, because
if you didn't want to be here, you wouldn't be here.
Exactly, and it's a great bunch of people. And Jason's so funny. I enjoy picking on Jason and having fun with him and teasing him and stuff. But I also he does nice work and gets nice things done, and he's got a nice thing going on. And I like my relationship with him, and we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can just tell from being on set that you can jostle and throw any insult back and forth at each other, and it's bouncing off.
It's going. Yeah. That's how it should be.
Yeah, no, it's great. Let me ask you. You had mentioned earlier about obviously you are, and like you mentioned in the Zoom class earlier that you are established here. A lot of people around Hollywood. Are there a few people that you would? It
just means I'm old. Yeah. Let's just call it like it is. We'll call it established, but it's old.
Yeah, that you would want to shout out as some of your favorite people that you've met through this business.
Well, again, my favorite actor ever is Denzel Washington, and to work opposite him was a dream and a dream come true. And I learned more on that film than on anything I've done. Denzel's pretty cognizant of everything, so I'm sure he was aware that I was fanboying a little bit. But it's respect too. It's really respect. I would want to watch how he prepared and see how he handled things, and even how he's handled his mega stardom. And because that's isolating. It's really isolating. When you're a giant movie star, everywhere you go, eyes are all over you. There's no time alone, kind of a thing, and it's a tough place to be. And I did watch that too, and I watched everything he did. So I enjoyed that opportunity to work with someone who I respected so much and still respect incredibly. And he's still on a journey. We're always still on a journey. Even though he's reached the pinnacle, he's on a journey, and he's reinventing things and doing different things. And it's just a joy to watch. And it inspires me for my own career moving forward. There's all sorts of people that I want to work with, that I hope to work with, that I believe I will work with. I honestly believe I'm in the youth of my career. I honestly do, because there's just so much you can do, and it never doesn't stop.
Oh yeah.
Unlike being a pro football player,
you
you have a very limited time.
Yeah.
It's like, get it in, because you're going to be done soon. I could play a pro football player right now. I can pretend to be a pro football player. You know what I mean? But that's the beauty of it. I don't have to hit anybody. My double does it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I can just act, and there's a lot more longevity to acting than there is to being a pro athlete.
You'll be getting paid to not get hit.
Exactly, and I like that.
You found the best of both worlds.
That's 100% it. That's why actors are actors.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's move away from all the filming and you talk about it all the time. What's your just day-to-day life? Is it what someone would assume as he's got all these things wheeling dealing going on, or do you have like a pretty calm, relatively normal kind of day-to-day? Relatively.
Yeah. My day isn't very. No, I have a lot of wheeling dealing going on. I mean, my life is very busy. I'm fortunate and blessed to be doing so many different things. Like my mom sometimes, she's like, I'm bored. I was like, what does that even mean? I've never been bored. Ever.
I envy that.
I just can't. I can't be, because there's so many things I want to do. So I've never been bored. I really don't know what that is. My life is crazy. I mean, like, even you look at today, I mean, yesterday I was doing pre-production stuff, having all kinds of stuff going on, answering 100 million questions and calls and calling actors and seeing who might want to be in the thing, rewriting scenes, talking to investors and changing something. It was madness if you were there. And then I sat down and played World of Warcraft with my son for an hour. And that's my nirvana place. We're just chilling, talking to my boy. And my parents are living in my house right now. Okay. I got 4 dogs, including my son's dog. My cousin's at my house. I mean, so it's madness. I was doing early morning news interviews at the same time, doing 6 other things, and talking to I'm also a police officer, talking to my police chief. Right. And, like, literally, it just was because I like to shut it down. Yeah. But the regular days are going, like tomorrow I have no plans. Right. I have a list of stuff because I'm a list maker. This is how I've lived my life. I don't have to get the list done today, but the list is going to get done. And sometimes I'm inspired to just start checking them off and just knocking them down. Other times I'm like, that's a long list. I'm not touching that thing today.
Go scour and find the quickest one.
Maybe one, maybe not. I'm like, no. Mm-hmm. I'm just phoning it in today. We're done. Cut me. I'm done. Right. And I think you need to be kind to yourself and do that and find what works for each individual. For me, this works to be kind of crazy and busy. I like it, but it's a matter of priorities. I have to go out to my son, and he's in North Carolina at school, and he wanted me to help move out of his dorm and fly back with him back here. I'd like to do that, and I normally do it. Like, I make that time because I love being with my kids so much, but I probably won't be able to do it this time, which bums me out in a little way. It also freeing in a little way, and he probably needs to do it himself. But that's my downtime is with my son or my family, and to me that's recharges the battery. Yeah.
No, you got to give yourself a break every now and then, otherwise you're just going to fall apart.
Truth. Are you saying? Is there veiled anything in there? Are you telling me I'm falling apart? I need to relax.
You interpret what you need to interpret. Whatever makes you feel good.
If that's where you need to go with it, that's where it went.
Man, I'm here to support you either way.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, so keeping on the more personal stuff, because I'm sure everyone, they don't want to know about Dean Cain, right?
I'll tell you this right up front. My dad, and he's right. Actors probably shouldn't talk about their personal life. Yeah. Honest to goodness. They really shouldn't. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm not putting myself in that category. I'm not an actor. Yeah. But they shouldn't. The more mystery, this is true. The more mystery you have about an actor, the less you know about them personally. Really, the more you might just watch their performance and do their thing. I'm not trying to put myself in that category. I don't mind talking about myself. That's fair. But I think that if I were to coach or to speak to and give advice to a young actor, I would say less. Yeah. Again, it's what my dad gave me then.
Well, especially when you're not established as you are, if you are up and coming.
Even if you're established, if you don't hear much about them, whenever they do something, you really pay attention. Whenever they're in a film, you really pay attention. And the truth is, you don't have to know about someone's personal life to really appreciate them as an actor. And there's a good point to that. I mean, I don't follow it at all because I don't mind talking, and I'm maybe a little bit of an extrovert in that sense. And But I do so many different things.
Right.
So I'm used to being as an athlete, a role model. Even in Charles Barkley's right, you don't have to be a role model because you're an athlete, and that doesn't necessarily make the case.
Right.
And we hold them up to be role models, and they're not. A lot of them aren't. But some can be, and some people can embrace that role, and I did, and I do, and I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not perfect by any stretch of imagination, but I like to live the life that I say.
Yeah. Well, it's like, any wise man has anything to do with media creation will say, always leave them wanting more.
Of course.
Because if you give them everything, they've got no reason.
And we're done with you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
It's true.
So, I mean, not only is that going to hurt you with your career, you're not going to make too much money anymore if no one's interested anymore, but also it's just personally you're
spent. You're an open book.
Right.
You're not interesting anymore.
Yeah.
Well, they say, what do they say? Familiarity breeds contempt.
Right. Don't worry, buddy. You're not there
yet.
Yeah. But so I was just going to ask like stupid, superficial questions.
Hey, go ahead. It's your time, brother.
Yeah. Like
I'm happy to sit here.
Like favorite sports teams.
Well, we're going to start with football.
Yeah, of course.
Because the world starts and ends with football. We know that, right? My favorite sport, I play for the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
I have to root for the Buffalo Bills. They're the only NFL team that's ever paid me a penny. So I like them. And Buffalo's coming back.
Loyalty.
I do. I'm a very loyal person, I'll tell you that. Dallas Cowboys. Love the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. One of my best friends, Jason Garrett, was the head coach for 7-9 years. Now he's the offensive coordinator to the New York Giants, who I hate. So it's a love-hate. I want the New York Giants to lose every game but score 90 points. It's a rough thing. It's rough.
Very conflicted, huh?
Very conflicted. And I went to school in Jersey, and everybody was Giants, right? And my buddy's Rusty, and his father was the team doctor for the Giants. And because I love to hate the Giants, because I like to tick them off.
Yeah.
And then when the Giants played the Bills in the Super Bowl, we were all together, and they were screaming at me, and they won. That's all I have to say to that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's everyone loves to feed on that kind of competitive hate. It's
fun.
It's like I was just gonna say. I was really just hoping. All I was hoping was that you weren't gonna say that you were a Packers fan. That's all I needed to hear.
Funny you say that, and I agree with you. We bond on that one. I met a girl yesterday. Didn't meet her in person, but she's some other friend of mine, and she's a beautiful woman. And I certainly don't want to tick her off. Not that there's any romantic thing going on. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Disclaimer.
Is that on camera? Gosh darn it. No, she's a friend of mine. And anyway, she was like, I love the Packers. And I was like, ooh, we were doing so well. Oh, we agreed to get past that. Packers. Thank you.
There you go.
Boys
with toys.
It's exactly. Don't ever put these near me. No, but I love to hate the Packers. I love to hate the Packers. As a Cowboys fan, you have to.
Yeah.
But she loves to hate
Bears
Dallas.
fan over here.
What's that?
Bears fan over here.
Oh,
so
God.
It's natural.
One good year for you. That's it. That's all you got. You were happy when you were 9.
Yeah. I was happy for a while, and then I was very, very, very crushed.
You're going to be sad for a while, too.
Yeah.
Brother. I hate to break it to you. You're going to be sad for a little while.
With pretty much any Chicago sports.
Well, the Cubbies got it. It happened. Right?
It was that was in 16.
Yeah.
It's not it's kind of weird. I'm not too sure where they're at this season. But
I'm a sports fan through and through.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You got some of my favorite sports teams there. And it starts with football. Well, I will say this: Tom Brady last year, Tampa Bay, going through, winning it, leaving, coming out of New England. He's the greatest of all time. He proved it there. I love it. I root for the old guy, even though he's much younger than me, and that's hard to say. So happy that happened. I was a huge fan of Tom's, and I am a huge fan of Tom's. I was a huge fan last year. So I root for Tampa Bay, obviously, and that was a really fun year.
Yeah.
I love Mahomes and respect Kansas City. I enjoy watching them, and I have a lot of their players in my fantasy teams, but I wanted Tampa Bay to do it.
Yeah. No, I was kind of split. I didn't really have a dog in the race this year, but
shame on you. I was all Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah.
I bet it too. I was in Vegas filming, so I might have bet it. And I might have won both my bets. Tom Brady MVP, Tampa Bay to win it straight up, and I bet the under. 3 bets. I won them all.
Yeah.
Didn't parlay because that's a stupid bet.
Well, you got lucky this time.
There's no luck involved. All skill.
So I know that you end up having to do a lot of traveling with us.
Not just with you guys. I do a lot of traveling
but
worldwide. Yeah.
I mean,
I do very little traveling for you guys, really, because it's short.
Well, I mean, relative to how much we do.
Roger that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What are some of your favorite places that you've had to go to for shooting that you just ended up falling in love with the location?
My favorite place, number one, is home.
Yeah, there you go.
No,
But you don't shoot at home.
I did. I do. When you're making enough films, you'll end up filming in your house. So we were shooting this one movie that I was producing, and we lost a set. I wasn't even there. I wasn't even filming that day. I was filming something else for another project. I think we lost the set. We lost it. It got, something happened. I was like, go to my house and set up there. And they're like, yep.
It's one thing to lose footage, but the whole set.
Yep. We lost that. We lost a location. And so it was only for a couple little things. And then they went over to my house and shot it. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, it actually worked. Good job, guys.
Got to improvise.
Yeah. But, it's not that so much that I've fallen in love with places that I've been. It's that I've become, I can say, I could walk onto a set in Bulgaria and roll camera and shoot, do everything in Bulgarian.
Right.
I mean, it's not a skill I thought I would acquire. Tishina, snimka, things like that. I didn't think I was going to be saying these things, and it's things you learn. So I've shot 6 movies in Bulgaria.
Right.
In Sofia, Bulgaria. I would have never been to Sofia, Bulgaria.
No, you wouldn't have.
Never. And I thought
it's like the thing you were just a couple months ago. You were up in Moscow. So.
Moscow,
yeah.
right in Red Square.
Yeah.
And that was trippy. Growing up a kid in the middle of the Cold War, you tell me I was going to be in Red Square and see, St. Basil's Cathedral behind me and see the Kremlin and it was incredible to see.
Well, I know you especially appreciate it because of your background as a history major. So,
You're a history major too.
Yeah,
Don't
man.
think I don't know that about you. It's amazing. It was incredible. Lenin's tomb and stuff like. You're just like, wow.
Oh, so you had some time to just really go out and.
Well, it was a travel show that we were doing, so I got to check it out.
There you go. 2 birds.
We were shooting. We were about 9 birds on that one, but it was great. It was so much fun, and so that's part of what we got to do on this one, and I really enjoyed it. It was cool.
Yeah.
You don't get that. When you shoot a movie, what's really great when you shoot a movie, you're there for 6 weeks or something, and so half your crew is locals. So as you learn about the people and make friends with the people, you start to learn more about the culture, and you get to spend time there. That's one of the wonderful blessings of being an actor or a filmmaker who travels.
Yeah.
Because
especially because because you're having to act there, it's not, you have an excuse to kind of supplant yourself into the culture and be a part of it. Whereas if you were just, some American guy who went there visiting, it would be,
you're a visitor.
Yeah, it would be kind of odd for you to be so adoptive, unless they were, receptive to that, of course.
You spend an 18-hour day on set doing all kinds of stuff with people, and you work as a team. Then you guys go have a couple drinks, that later that night at the end of the thing. You learn about people.
Yeah.
And you bond, and it's cool. And I enjoy that.
And more than stories or anything, what little experience I have is I've seen,
because you're 12.
Yeah, that's what I look like when I shave that beard off, and about like 40 pounds heavier. But is that it's not so much about the stories that are being told. It's it's about the people. You can write a story and put any person onto that story, but because each person is unique, they bring their own thing to the table. And it's not just that you see that in film, but you do see that in real life when you get to know someone enough.
Absolute truth. And to establish relationships with people over a long period of time and under the working conditions, it's a very cool thing because you learn about their culture. You learn about how they grew up. You start having and even if you don't speak the same language, which a lot of people barely spoke English. Right. I didn't speak any Bulgarian. You figure out how to talk to each other. I've had a home in Spain for 20 years. I enjoyed filming in Spain too, by the way. I've shot in Barcelona, and one of the things that happens after about an hour and a half after you report to work, you have bocata time, bocata break. You have to stop and eat sandwiches. You have a half an hour break to stop, eat your sandwich, hang out.
Yeah.
There's wine on the table at lunch. Nobody's getting drunk, but everyone might have a glass. I'm like, this is sweet.
Yeah, man. It's the same story in Italy. Around 12, 1 o'clock, they go into siesta time. You got 3 or 4 hours. You go home. You have lunch. You take a drink. You have a nap. You go back to work at maybe 7 or 8 o'clock. You're up until midnight, 2 a.m. You do it all the next day.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
No.
Doesn't work in America, but it's fun over there. It's fun to be immersed in the culture and do that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I liked it.
Right.
I like doing it, and there's a lot more to do.
Yeah, and it's not that, it's, I don't mean to glamorize it so much. There are drawbacks because it's obviously you're not used to it. So, you'll walk out walking around at maybe 1 or 2 o'clock and go try and find something to do. There's nothing to do. Whereas like here, there's always something to do.
Everything's open.
Yeah. So it's
You can't go. I mean, you can't go. Don't go to the bank at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Spain. It's not going to happen.
It's closed.
Yeah, of course it's closed. It opens up again at 4.
Yeah, and they look at you like, "What do you mean?"
And also, don't show up to a club at like 9 o'clock at night because it opens at 1.
Yeah,
I showed up to a club when I first got to Barcelona on my first trip to Spain. My buddy and I were like, "We're going to go to the most happening club." We got there at 10.
Yeah,
they were like people cruising around setting up. They're like, "Yeah, the hell are you doing here?"
Early bird special.
We had 8 o'clock dinner, so it's 10 o'clock. We're ready to go. They're like, "You're 4 hours ahead of opening time."
Well, like dinner, it's a lot of people end up having dinner here at like 5, 6 o'clock at night.
Sure, yeah.
Dinner's like an 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at the earliest.
Oh, you can't. It doesn't open till 9. You can't. You can't. No. So I have no joke. Sat down in Ibiza. I have a home in Ibiza, Spain.
Okay.
Known as the nightclub capital of Europe. It's mad. In the summertime, it's craziness. I have sat down to have dinner in Ibiza at 1 a.m.
That sounds like it's perfectly suited to my sleep schedule.
We went out afterward. I saw the sun come up before I went to bed.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And not just once.
Right. Oh, no, that's a regular thing, man.
Yep. You got to learn how to balance that, though, too.
Yeah.
Everything's a balancing act.
Well, so then what was there a place that you'd been that the custom was just so bizarre to you that you just genuinely had a hard time trying to operate?
There are times I've been uncomfortable, and for different reasons. I shot a thing in the UAE, and everything about it was comfortable, but it reminded me of being in Iraq in 2005, and I think I went into this weird place. Yeah. I went and visited our troops in 2005 in Iraq, and in the desert and the heat, and then I was in the UAE under totally different circumstances, and I don't know. I think I flashed back and found myself in the middle of a war again, and it was very uncomfortable, and it was really weird. I'd never been in that position. But I'd go back to the UAE in a second and film. Oh gosh, it was a great experience. But something about it just clicked. What's that?
You swim in the Gulf?
I did not swim in the Gulf. Not on that trip. No, because I'm weird. Like, I don't want to. It was set up wrong. Mm-hmm. It was set up like come in, relax for a while, and then work.
Right.
I can't do that. Come in, work, relax.
Yeah.
That's how I work. So I was like, I just want to work. All right, let's get the work going.
I mean, I think that's how most people probably work.
I guess. I don't know, but it was set up for me. I blame my buddy. He set it up wrong. It always have fun to have someone to blame.
Yeah, there's always someone that can take the fall.
Yeah, so it turned out to be a great experience, but it would have been a lot better to flip it in the reverse. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I've been everywhere. I've been so many places. I shot in Kenya, but I was shooting. So sometimes I'll shoot these travel shows or like things, charity shows and things like that, where I'm doing like in Kenya. I came into Kibera, the largest slum in all of Africa, was doing real humanitarian stuff with Feed the Children. And then we went on a safari in the Masai Mara in the most luxurious camp, and so the juxtaposition, I did a little Apple, iBook thing of it. And the juxtaposition, I got to take my parents on this and everything of the abject poverty in Nairobi in the heart of the AIDS pandemic. This is in 2007. Mm-hmm. Little family, this little girl was, the oldest kid was 9. My son was, at the time, was 7. And the youngest kid was 4. And the man of the house was 9 years old. Dad was gone. He just bolted. The mom had full-blown AIDS. So like neighbors were bringing food. We brought food and clothes to these kids. They'd never been out of Kibera. It's a 2 square mile area. I took them out and they saw giraffes for the first time. And to be with these kids and see their life, there but for the grace of God go I. And you go, I'm very blessed and lucky. And same world, different planets.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So stuff like that really. I did it in Vietnam and Nicaragua. I've done a lot of charity work in places like that. But it's involved in the world of film because we film the things and try to do good things and draw attention to the plight of some of these folks. So to have been to all these countries and seen all this stuff is amazing. It really changes your perspective.
Yeah, and I can imagine as you go along with that, and especially because it's been spanning your entire career, having seen all these places is going to influence, obviously, your personality, everything about you, how you understand the world. And as we just were saying, your understanding of the world is going to be the major influencer in how you act, what kind of actor you are, what kind of performance that you can put on.
100%. You have things to draw upon that you can't explain. You have life experiences and things you've seen and done, and
it's a feeling, not a thought.
It is, and if you can put that out on camera, that's amazing.
Yeah.
If you have that inside, you can't put it out on camera. There's a talent to that.
Yeah, and it's not to say that people who look bad on camera are necessarily boring or don't have any particular experiences. It's just that
it doesn't translate.
Some people just it flows naturally.
So in these beautiful places I was staying in Kenya in the Masai Mara, they will, because you're in a tent, but it was the nicest tent I've ever seen. Running water,
Right.
a shower, but it was a tent.
Like
it's a
glamping type of thing?
It's very much glamping.
Yeah.
But you could hear all the hippos down below because you're up on this bank down below. They couldn't get to you, but you can hear them. Hippos kill more humans than any other animal.
Oh, yeah, man.
And but you can hear them all night and all in the morning. I woke up in the morning and they bring you your coffee. You say what time you want a coffee, and they'll bring coffee and like little cookies to you. And I love my coffee in the morning. And so they bring it to me. And the first morning I came out, coming out of my tent in the Masai Mara, and these freaking monkeys, I had to brawl with these monkeys to get my cookies. They were so fast on it. As soon as the guy dropped it off, you better get to your freaking cookies, or else the monkeys, you're going to just go at it. They were coming down for it. I was ready to fight.
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't my coffee or anything, and we're going to fight. We're going to go, monkey. We're going to go at it.
It's something that you wouldn't think actually happens in real life, but as they say, life imitates art.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I was in the trees. I'm like, monkeys in the trees. Yeah. I'm like, oh, they're coming to they want my cookies. I realized when the guy came after my cookie, it's like, you're not just chill. You want my food. Yeah. No, now we will brawl. Yeah. We shall fight now.
Yeah, it's like when you throw the dog scraps from the table. They're going to bug you more because they know that you're going to give it to them.
That's it.
Yeah, they've been trained.
Yes, they've been trained. Those monkeys know if dude ain't out there, get his cookies.
Yeah, man. Why work for the food when you can just steal it?
Steal it for free. Monkeys are smart.
Yeah, man.
I was gonna use that metaphor towards so many other things, but I'm gonna let it go. Yeah. I'm just gonna let it go.
Maybe if we have an X-rated version at some point.
I'm gonna let it go, baby.
Yeah. No, that's so surreal, though. I mean,
but that's the thing about film. It can take you all over the world. Hey, whoa. It can take you all over the world, and it does. I've been more places. Thank you. I've been more places and visited more places than I ever wanted to,
right?
Than I ever expected to, and it's really cool.
Yeah,
I got a picture that I hope we can get done. It's a historical thing, which I love. So if I can involve my love of history and storytelling that takes place in World War II in Shanghai, China, if we shoot this thing, I will just be beside myself.
Yeah, that would be very gripping.
It's a great story. It's unbelievable. I'd love to tell it. I'd love to. I wrote it, so I'd love to. Whatever. I'd love to see the story told.
Well, do you have that actually kind of answers the question that was in there earlier, doesn't it?
Which one?
There was a question on the Zoom call about a historical figure or a particular role.
There's no. I wouldn't even act in it. I wrote the thing. There's no role for me.
Yeah.
But I want that story told, and since I wrote it.
Yeah.
I want that story told. I wrote it based on a book, so, but I combined it with some of my historical knowledge and was able to. It was very wonderful. The wonderful compliment I got was the book. The author of the book said he wrote a better screenplay than I wrote a book, which was awfully sweet.
Wow.
At least that's what I was told in the translation. It was in Chinese, and I didn't speak Chinese.
You have to believe it if you want.
I want to believe it. I'm just going to go on with it.
Yeah.
I believe it 100%. We'll find out in time.
So do you have a favorite era that you like to study?
World War II is, it's just because it was the first time. I mean, World War II was just fascinating to me. I just think it's an unbelievable time when so much was going on and the world in balance. And it's just the thing. It's just, World War II tends to be my favorite.
You could live your whole life reading 50 books a day about it and still not even get close. Fraction of it.
It's true. Unbelievable. I don't think we've ever seen a time like that before. And I don't think we'll probably ever see it again because you don't have that sort of, that birth of the world all together at the same time kind of a thing, and the balance of I don't think that exists again.
There were so many pieces that needed to fall exactly just so that
for that crazy dynamic to take place and the things that took place. I think that's one of the most unique times in history.
Yeah.
I love that time.
Well, that's the thing is, like, recently I went on my Facebook and just completely hid all of the crap, the nonsense that I had posted over the past 11 years that wasn't relevant. And some of that stuff I was looking at, I just wanted to go back and slap myself in the face so hard.
You heard me say something about that earlier, right? Saying that about interviews. That one of the things I would tell myself as a young actor, interviews, just shut up.
Yeah.
Because you say things. I said the Justin Bieber stuff. That poor kid, he grew up right. I mean, listen, I don't condone anything he said or did as a young kid, and he's written songs to that effect now. But I mean, it's just unfair because you're just a kid.
Yeah.
And
I don't know any better.
We're all dumb kids at some point in time, and it's okay to be a dumb kid. That's the horrible thing about social media, is that kids aren't allowed to be dumb kids and make big mistakes because it sits there forever. I'm so happy.
It is dangerous.
I'm so happy it wasn't around when I was young.
Yeah, there are pros and cons. Obviously, I can't pick or choose one or the other. I kind of ended up like right smack in the middle, right? Because when I signed up for Facebook, I think I just finished 8th grade. So it's like I started puberty a little bit, but I wasn't mature.
You're saying too much.
I wasn't mature at all.
You're giving away too much right now. I'm kidding.
They can all judge away. I don't care.
That's the best attitude to have right there. When Facebook started for me,
yeah,
I was a freshman in college.
Oh wow.
There was a little book we got when we came in as freshmen at Princeton called The Freshman Facebook. This is years before Zuckerberg ever went to Harvard, by the way.
So this is the version of Facebook that was reserved exclusively for college students? Are you talking about
exclusively for Princeton students?
Oh, right.
Exclusively for Princeton freshmen.
Right.
That's the only place I ever. So when I heard there's a thing called Facebook. I mean, like, I was like, what, like when we showed up at school?
Yeah.
It had everybody listed, where they were from, every school they were from, what their interests are, or whatever, and we use it as a dating app.
Yeah.
I didn't know apps existed at the time because they didn't.
Yeah.
But I used it as a dating book. I
Right.
literally went through there with my buddies, my newly found buddies in college. We're like, wow, who is she? She's from. I know you're out there, Nancy Easton. Yes, we looked you up, Nancy Easton. She's a soccer player, from Florida, Coral Gate. You remember this stuff because it's stuck in there. And Nancy's a sweetheart, and we were friends. But I remember doing that and seeing these people, and they were doing. Girls were doing it, guys were doing. We're all looking to see who's who.
Right.
And then you'd meet them on campus because Princeton's a residential campus, so everybody lives on campus. It's a really small school, 4,500 students. You're around them, you see each other. They're having freshman keggers. You're going to meet people.
Yeah.
And so it was awesome. But then when this thing Facebook launched, I'm like, you mean like the book we got when we were freshmen in college? And I've never seen the Social Network, the movie. I guess I have to watch it because I guess they talk about that. Yeah. Well, it was going on long before. If I had only had the foresight of Zuckerberg, I would have done that. I also went to college with Jeff Bezos too, who was 2 years ahead of me. I would have gone back in time and befriended him really quickly and be like, if you ever need any money for a startup, just let me know.
Yeah, right.
I'll get some. I'll cull some together.
Oh man, you wouldn't have to. You probably never even would have heard of Jason if you ended up with him.
No, that's the beautiful thing. Maybe a billionaire, I'd still be here doing the same thing.
You'd be doing the same thing, but maybe not with the same people.
No, I would. I would come in and do it in that sense. I mean, it's fun. I mean, it is fun to do.
Yeah.
And it just depends on how it is. Maybe I wouldn't. I'd fly in on my jet.
Right.
I'd be here. I'd say I'll give you 5 hours and I'll bolt, whatever it is. But instead, I'm here for 14 hours. Still, it's not like it's not that far away, and it's still fun. It's good people.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I don't care if you're a billionaire or 100 billionaire. Some of the most unhappy people I know are billionaires.
Yeah.
And they're not happy, and their life isn't a wonderful ride. It's so
right.
Money doesn't make you rich.
Yeah.
Obviously, and I go back to It's a Wonderful Life. To my brother, the richest man I know. It was one of the greatest. You probably do you know that movie?
Yes, I do.
I don't know. I see.
No, I was raised right is all.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. So yeah, that was one of the things, and it's a great thing. I love the Frank Capra movies from back in the day. I love that Americana, and I love that the messages they were putting out then. I love that, which is one of the reasons I love working with Jason and doing these films.
Yeah,
I mean, it's great. It's a Wonderful Life is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just so good. It encompasses so many different things. And it's also tells you a lot about the time when they were filming it, where you can go you go into the bar, you have a couple of drinks, you're angry, you might belt somebody or whatever. It's stuff like, it's just a different time. Now you can't go into a bar and get angry because someone's going to shoot somebody or, so it's a little bit different of a deal.
Times change. And that's one of the things that's neat with filming is that
it reflects the times.
Yeah, even if it's not being shot contemporary, it's still there are so many influences of the people that are involved with it that you can tell what it was like at that time, even though it's not. I mean, look at, for instance, like sci-fi from the 50s, right?
Amazing.
They weren't even close to what ended up happening.
Then you look at like George Orwell, who's real close on some things right now.
Right, and it's like we're living in what they intended to display, but when we see those movies, those old sci-fi movies, we don't imagine what they were trying to get us to see, which was the future. We imagine the 50s,
Exactly, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. That's why I love the fact that, like you look at what movies were able to be made during what time. I almost wrote my thesis on a history of the Motion Picture Academy, what it started as a union for everybody in film, and then specific unions broke out, and then it became something that basically just gave out awards and pushed technical things, and the awards became a huge deal. And so it was nice that they have the technical awards and the Academy Awards. The Academy Awards funds everything, and they have a library of film. It's a great thing, but that's what it evolved into. And it's really fun to go back and look at that and see. I thought she was trying to get my attention.
Yeah,
I was like, what? Which broke my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh, but you look back and you see what could be made at those times. I almost wrote my thesis on, do times dictate what you can make, or does what you make dictate how people perceive things?
Yeah.
And the truth is, it's both.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? That's just not a great. You can't take a position on that one way or the other. It's both.
Right.
So I was like, it's kind of a neither here nor there paper, neither here nor there. You can't make a decision. So I said, all right, I won't write that. Instead, I'll just write a history of this. And tell them.
Well, and that's one of the things, like, that's definitely one thing I can relate with as a history major myself, is when you're given a topic, you have to take your position and be firm on that position. The more you look into it and the more you start writing it, the more you go, oh man, wait, is that the position?
Right. Exactly.
It's infuriating. Because you've already put so many hours into it, and
then you question it. Wait a minute, but look at this.
So then you start getting in the dilemma of, well, do I actually keep on going into this and try and see if I'm going to change my opinion, or I've already put this much work into it ethically that's kind of shady.
And because you're in college, you do the ethically shady thing.
Yeah.
Because you've done enough time there, and you need to go out and do some other fun stuff.
And because they're charging me enough.
or your parents, and and you want to go back and get on your freshman Facebook and meet more people. It's college kids.
Yeah, that's what they got Tinder for nowadays. Not that I have any success.
I've never been on a dating app. I wouldn't know one from the left. Swipe left or right. I don't understand what that means.
You really don't.
Also, I can't really go on a dating app, can I?
No. Well, I don't know. Do they make dating apps for celebrities?
I don't know.
I think that's just called
life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you just kind of know each other at this point.
Hey, you're in the club.
Yeah.
There is a funny thing about that. Well, you see people that you know and recognize, and they know and recognize you, and it's just the weirdest thing. You're like, hey, I love your work. I love your work. Cool, we're best friends.
Right.
or I love your work. Or you're so-and-so.
Yeah.
Hey, I really, it's just weird. Sometimes you don't recognize somebody from something.
Yeah.
And sometimes you really recognize somebody, you want to meet them.
Yeah.
And then you meet them, you're horribly disappointed.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, is there...
You were going to say that's about me. That's jacked up. I'm right here. I'm in the room.
Oh, wait. This is Dean I've been talking to?
I'm not his brother. I'm not Jason. This is not Jason Campbell. I'm Dean.
So, has there ever been... Have you ever had like a colleague that you were very close with, and then not because of anything in their life, but because of work that they've done, that you've felt not necessarily distanced from them, but like you felt different because of it, even though you knew that it wasn't really them?
No. Do whatever you want work-wise. I don't care. Even have any opinion you want.
Yeah.
But just treat others with respect and dignity, and be a bit humble. That's fine. I mean, guys like, I love Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
We disagree politically on everything, but we're respectful to each other.
Under the sun. Yeah.
We are respectful to each other, and we're friendly. I love Don. I would hang out with Don all day long. Mm-hmm. We'd probably find a lot of common ground in a lot of places, because he's a very cerebral guy, and he's a very compassionate person, and I like to believe I'm the same. We just have different ideas about how it should be done and things. But I encourage that. I wish we had more of that between people, and I think we should have more of that.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate to that. One of my best friends is like, politically speaking, like the opposite end of me. Like, we just are not nearly compatible when it comes to that. But and we've gone at it with each other a few times.
You got to go at it.
Sometimes they'll say something. It's like, what? No. But so basically, there's a mutual silent agreement to just not bring it up, because we've been friends for longer than we've had political disagreements and whatever. And I'm not going to throw away a friendship because this person is just like, doesn't agree with me on this particular thing. You
could have said, because this person's totally uneducated, doesn't understand the real right answer.
I could say that, but I want to be polite.
Well, then we'd be taking a side.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly it. No, it's and I think we don't have enough of that these days.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like you said, it all comes down to respect.
I respect someone's point of view to be wrong and have a terrible opinion. But
I respect your right to be just
have a blithering idiot. By the way, that would probably be the way the conversation went. And they would respect my right to be a we'll clink glasses and find a place where we have common ground. And if I was there as a representative, your job is to do the bidding of your constituents, what you think is best for them and what they voted you in for. And I think that's important.
Yeah. I mean, we could go on and on about all of the
politics.
Yeah. And the flaws in
we don't have enough time.
No. This would have to be a 4-hour podcast.
This would have to be a 4-week podcast.
Yeah. No, you'll have to change your flight.
I'll have to fly home myself.
Yeah.
In a month. We just go ahead.
We'll just order. We got DoorDash. We could just order.
That's it. Don't have to leave
keep
anymore.
on bringing in the wine.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'll be asleep in 15 minutes. And I got the big couch. You're screwed.
No. You got to put the show on still, mister.
I do. Oh, God. That's what happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, honestly.
On that note, the show has to go on.
And as much as I wish we could go on forever, sadly we cannot. And I cannot think of a better way to start this podcast than with you. This has been...
It's downhill from here.
Yeah, it probably is.
I apologize for
probably is.
I'm too good a guest.
I'm going to be a one-hit wonder, and it's all your fault.
That's it. Don't do another one. Why ruin perfection?
Stop while I'm ahead, right?
Exactly. Quit on top. Go out on top right now.
No, I really appreciate it, though, Dean.
My pleasure.
It's been a really good time talking to you.
Oh, an absolute pleasure. Thank you.